Real talk. I avoided good money, good opportunity, an entire hospital, all because I was terrified of the one person. Years ago, when I was still in training, I did a job that I was booked to interpret for a person, and when I turned up there, the other party had booked their own interpreter, which was the weirdest thing. So when we were, it's kind of like a mediation kind of like thing. When my client said anything, I would interpret for them. And when that client said anything, they would interpret for them. And then when the person who's kind of like mediating said anything, we would interpret for both of them, which was kind of like awkward, which really the two of us should be working together and taking in turns to like do that. But when you're new and then like this is what this like you just kind of like flow and I didn't even think to say, okay, can we like anyway. At the end of the day, of the appointment, my party won or got majority of what they wanted. And everybody went their separate way. It was the awkward thing. It was like my camp, your camp. And then afterwards, my person spoke to the person that like, and then and then it was just like, that was it. Weirdest. This is one of like the weirdest jobs I've ever done. Fast forward a couple of weeks, months later, God knows what. Now working in a hospital that is literally, if I wanted, I could just literally wake up, roll up, and then I'll be in this hospital in 10 minutes. If I was like that lazy, didn't care about hygiene and all those things. It was that like in a casual stroll, I'm there at that hospital. That's how close this place was to me. And yeah, you start becoming like kind of like the go-to interpreter of like if anything happens, you're the one they call first because you're like that's your locality and everywhere. Like you know the map of the hospital every department like on T. Yeah, me. And it became that, then she was there at this appointment. And it was more kind of like a health check thing. Or when you've done the GP and then they refer you for deeper, we don't like just to double check. And it was now like, so we had the examination and you can just see the awkwardness of like not being comfortable or like, oh, you are like, this is me just assuming like you supporting him or like whatever. Um, yeah, and they would ask questions and it was very awkward, but she was responding and then, it was happening. And luckily for me, I don't know, my mom might have mentioned something to the doctor, but he noticed the awkwardness but he was getting the information that he needed. And then while we were now time for the examination, so they're doing their things, an internal examination, and I was just like, la da 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 da, like looking elsewhere until it was now time for me to say something or sign something. And I was just, when you can just feel someone staring at you, someone's like eyeballing you. And I like literally my head was high. I wasn't even looking at the image. But because I was now my head was just dancing around the areas. Like, why are you looking at? Stop looking at my inside. And like, babe, I'm not. I didn't say babe. I'm not looking at your inside. Like, no, it's not the case. Like, stop looking at it. And then I just had to turn about. Here is the good thing that came out from that experience. Now I value privacy for my clients. When I am with my clients, except if like I would say, you know, first of all, what's the instruction so they can have the privacy? You can do the examination. I don't have to be there. I look away. Even the joyous of things like seeing like a baby scan or whatever, and like how you can see the heartbeat. I would just say like now they're showing like the heart's going or like the sort of legs or the arms. I would never look until, one person was like, yeah, wait, like, so I'm like, is it okay if I look? Like, oh, oh, thank you for asking that. Like normally people just like stare out without asking. So that was a good thing that came out from that experience. Okay. Because now I'm like, I'm one of those, like, I value, because the only reason I'm in that room is because I just need to interpret. Regardless if they had the same language or the same vibe, they would need me. So now I honor that and I respect that. And when is in that kind of situation, I'll look away, I'll give them space. So that moving forward in my career, that was a positive that I'd taken from that. But in that moment, of her accusing me of looking at her inside. And I told the doc, she's saying, I mean, she's using her own voice anyway. And I'm like, oh no, I was just like, it's fine. So I just turned around and everything was fine. And then became very more awkward. So now they had to then explain that, okay, we'll take this a biopsy, we check this and blah, 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 da, da, da. Awkward. Went our separate ways, got my thing signed. And then a week or two later, a letter from the registration body saying, "Oh, there's been a complaint. This person said you misinterpret them or like I can't even remember the exact words and stuff like that." I was like, I was shocked. You know when you're like, this is like I haven't even started a career yet, and I'm already getting a letter saying you are be that like what Fortunately, I knew the department, went down to the doctor. The same day time I went there and I explained the situation. I showed the letter. I was like, I remember the interaction. I mean, you didn't present like all the things they're saying here. It wasn't kind of like what happened. And I remember every question I asked, I got the answer. Yes, there was that awkward moment or whatever, but you weren't looking and I blah blah they wrote the statement to support him. So I wrote my bit and sent it off. And I got back saying, okay, be very mindful, be very careful, make sure that you follow the guide, the clauses they will tell you to be fair enough. Got that. And I was like, that was like, okay, I have to be very careful now because now I'm getting this. Can you imagine? Like if I get another one, whatever, it's like I could be like struck off, like I can't work on anymore. And like, life went on. I was very careful, like still doing my thing, like still in the back of my head, like, oh my goodness, what if, like, if I see her again? And then I did. And it was just like, oh, you're still working, kind of like, that kind of like look, not saying that, but what I read in her mannerism was that. And it was loud like, okay, appointment and stuff like that. And it was awkward. It was like there was no interaction. And because I'm new, I'm like, just ugh, okay. That went on. Next time again. This time I'm now qualified. And our tutors at the time now said there was this hype about cowboy, people just going and doing jobs without actually. So now they want people to show their badges and they're even asking their people to like ask to see their badges and everything. And so our tutor at the time is like, just show it. Either you know the person or not, just show the badge. Goody two shoe of me. The next time I saw this lady in an appointment, and yeah, I showed her my badge. Wrong decision, I tell you. Oh, you're qualified now. So you think you're better than me. You think you're that now. So now that you're qualified, you think that you're all that. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like our tutor said that, there's this thing going around that they want everybody. I don't know if you've heard, like, oh, black, yeah, right, yeah. So you think, yeah. Mm. You're not that. I'm like, that's not the intention. Like, I've been showing, and ever since then, babe, I just kind of like, unless someone asks me, I'll put it on, except if I'm wearing it or it's on me. I wouldn't, another thing I learned from that experience, I don't show my badge unless if it's visible or it's there or unless it's been asked. I mean, do you? But that's how I've been rolling ever since then. I learned from my experience. And it was awkward. And ever since then, it's like, oh no, 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 no. Next time I saw this lady, oh, she felt like she was gonna vomit by the time. And I was like, and that time with the badge thing, I tried to explain to her. I was like sitting down and like explaining, okay, this is a situation, and she wasn't having it. She was like, no, you think you're that, Next time we met, it was now a case of I don't want her. I had like reached the limit. What did Nene do? I don't know. I guess I remind you of someone or something or some situation, and now you're taking it personally, and now you're taking it on me. I was now so hyper vigilant. I was so really like my belly's turning. Who am I gonna see? Then when I see someone else, it's like, oh, okay, hi, hello. But if it's like, and this time around, it was like she went nuts. I don't want her. I don't want her. Like, oh, like, and then the nurse is like, "Are you okay? Okay, come, 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 come to the room." Because she was making a scene. She was like really going for it. And they were like gathering, and everyone people were like looking, and people in the waiting areas like, "What did you do to this poor lady? Like, what? Why are you like?" And I'm there like, "Mm, okay, like what you want to do? And people there look okay. Because they had to go and consult and calm her down because she was like, I don't want her. She's da, 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 and then okay, fine. She doesn't want me. And then lady came out and said, okay, she doesn't want your services. Okay, that's fine. Can you sign me? Oh no, we didn't use you. So why are we gonna now another scene? We didn't use the service, so why are we gonna sign this thing? Oh no, we have to ask whatever, and the person wasn't available. And I'm there standing, people are there whispering and they're looking, and nurses will go in, look at the lady because she's still going on, and then she'll come back in and like people, it was the weirdest feeling. I had so much shame and the embarrassment. Oh gosh. I wish I didn't have to. I wish I had a guts to just walk away and then not lose that. I was like, sign my documents, please. And then they came talking phone, this, that, and they signed me and then they left. But it was just kind of like, like, why are we doing this? And then it was just scar of like, oh my goodness, this is not safe. I don't know when I'll see this lady again. If she does this again, just need peace. I need my sanity. I am coming to this place again. I cannot do this again for the risk of seeing and being embarrassed like this. That was it. I just like, no, no, no. I'll be passing the hospital and I'll be going down further an hour away to do this. And now that 6 months went by, whatever. I now found like a regular thing that I was doing that didn't I didn't have to go there. And then, it came up to like felt like 3 years even. And then I guess they changed contracts, and the agency that was working with this place and doing other things got the contract for this place. And then I saw the job come, and I just like, oof, when like flashback, whoosh, 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 and like, ooh, what if I get to see her again? Ooh. And then it was just, then I thought to myself, and I've done work. I mean, it's been years. I've been like, working on myself. I've done certification and stuff like that. And I just thought, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? It's free money. I've anchored in myself. Whatever she says, I just be like buck underwater. It goes to like it's not me, it's what's your perception, it's not my truth, it's your opinion, it's not facts. Kind of like thing was like how I was rolling with this. So if I see, that will be like my go-to in my head to anchor myself to move on. So I started going back into the hospital, doing jobs here, seeing old faces and like catching up, and it was lovely. And then we saw each other again. And then it was like, ugh, I don't want her. And it's like the drama again. I don't want her, I don't want her, I don't want her. In my head, I was like, I was calm, I was centered. In my head, I just kept repeating free money, 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 free money. I was like, okay, she doesn't want my services, that's fine. This is, I didn't know it was her. They don't tell us what it, anyway, I just said my piece and signed my thing and I left. It was free money, free money, free money. Again, this happened like a couple of times. And then you start doing work, and it got to the point where it's like, you know what? You are holding this grudge, and you are going through so much in terms of like your health challenges you're having, and you having this is just making things worse for yourself. You're anchored in this anger and this disgust for me, in this other person, and you're carrying all these things. The layers of how much this thing is hurting you. I just started sending love. So for me now, going into that place was just like, oh, opportunity to just send love. So when I'm going and doing work, I'm just saying that to like people. For me, it's like I had this fifth what do you call it? What's the word? It's escaped my mind, but it's like I would just send love to whoever it is that I'm working with, whoever I'm interacting with, or if I see people, I just send like, just love, magnetizing that. And when I do work with her, she's doing all that thing, I just like send you love, I send you peace. I say that in my mind and I just pass it on. And I just wish the best for you and like I like healing or whatever that is. I'll just send love. I started doing that. So it went from free money to that, to like send you love in this thing. I hope you release from whatever it is that I have nothing against you. And that's that. And that just made me feel I felt better. I felt good. I was able to go back into my community, seeing old faces and catching up and like going back and doing like in the departments that I love and all those places that were like able to hang and and now that fear of like, oh gosh, if I see her, it wasn't the case. It was more kind of like, it's okay. It's okay. Of being and seeing that it got to the point where I saw this person again. And it was in their weakest of moments. They had like days to be here. And I knew that she wouldn't want me. I didn't know it was her. And I saw the thing and this time around, when as soon as I told her and they told me who it was, it didn't give me that ache because I knew where I was, the department, what they do there. And instead, I just told them, look, I don't want to give this person more distress. It'd be best if, I didn't know it was her. Find someone else. It's like, no, we really need to like get this motion. We need to like explain and stuff like that. We still want you in. I said, look, this is a situation. This is what's gonna happen. It's okay. Let's just see what happens. I went in there. She was so weak. Loved ones all around her. Supportive. She's got beautiful family. And they were all there, cousins, aunties, mother, everyone was there. And I was holding on to like just sending love. I was just sending love in my heart to each and every one of them to just give them the strength in this season in whatever that's going on. And I was doing that, and she was weak, and she was in and out and eat and then when she finally got the will to just open her eyes a little, and then she saw me, she just went, I don't want her. I don't want her. And again, the family were like, huh? What? Like looking at her, looking like, what did, and I just like, so I signaled to the nurse, to the doctors who insisted that I should come. I'm like, she was like, okay, all right, she doesn't want, you can go. But again, I was still pouring out love. And when I shared this with someone, it's like, oh gosh, I'm sure you felt like, no, it wasn't a case of like, no, I got the one. No, I genuinely like wished her the best. Like, because I had like freed myself the longest time before this time I saw her. And I just wish that as she surrounded by her love, that she just like the last days of hers be of love and peace and like the oneness. And I hope she immediately forgets me as soon as I left that room and just get back into that love that's there. Because it wasn't my intention to push this. I told the doctors they didn't get it, but they still wanted, insistent on they had to, but anyway, to let her know what's what. And yeah, she said she didn't want me. And her loved ones were there. Beautiful people. And I just excused myself. But I did not feel no ways because I was anchored in my truth. I was anchored in myself, regardless of what they thought about me, but regardless of what she said to them, if she was a whatever. I held on to my truth, into my power, into my knowing, and still sending love, and still sending to loved ones, and and still resting in peace and everything. But it was, I'm glad that I was able to go through that, the learnings that I learned, and now how like my thing with like privacy, connection. I'm only here because of this, not because of whatever. Like how I handle situation. So many learnings from that experience. So I so grew from that. That that when people say stuff like that, when you're anchored in the identity of who you are and in your words, and knowing that not everyone's going to like you or want your services, and it's okay because we go in season. There might be people you're gelling with now, and after a while it's like, no, we're not good fit anymore, and it's okay as long as you know that it's not you. It's like when I tell my kids, like, look, I would always love you regardless of the choices that you make or whatever it is. Love for me from you is always going to be paramount. That might be, I might not be liking the action, but love, it's there. saying it's true for myself. Like I love me regardless of the opinions and stuff that people say. So once you know and anchor in your belief of self, regardless of the situation, regardless of what's going on, you are then able to be anchored in that. So yeah, that happened. Um, when it comes in, it's just sending love. It doesn't have any hold. My nervous system is now regulated in that situation. The hospital is now a beautiful place. I even got to interpret for a birth on my birthday, which so a deaf lady had a baby, and it was on my day, and I spent the early part of my day bringing someone to this world. So the great memories of being there, like joyous things and having fun. So yes, that hospital now has like other great things that memories I that bring me like joy when I like remember things or stuff like that. So it's not all about that. And yes, I am not avoiding the hospital no more. I am there, I am anchored, I'm supportive. And yeah, if there is any like hostile feel of things that is holding you back, anchor in the belief of yourself. And that's why I always say about celebration. Like when you leave a space, how are you leaving that space? Because when you get back into that situation, your brain will remember how you left it. Like, oh, remember how unsafe we're here. I remember how things were like here. But when you go like, oh gosh, it was okay. I sent love. It's comfortable. This is this. Like I remember this, or oh, I get to like have that treat that this store has. Like you make your thing up. Having that, knowing and having that truth for self is so vital that yeah, let me know in the comment section if you've ever had any awkward situation or things that you've avoided or someone you've avoided because of what they said, how they made you feel, or things like that that you just cut off yourself and your life really just because. I would love to know in the comment section. Till next time. Till tomorrow, actually. Bye for now.